What if the biggest myth you believe about creativity is that it means creating something from absolutely nothing? Like you have to just conjure genius out of thin air.
Yeah. I mean, it is a completely paralyzing expectation. You just sit there, staring at a blank screen and demand this spontaneous brilliance from yourself.
Right. And that pressure is, well, it's completely unnecessary. So we've got a really fascinating stack of notes today for this deep dive. We're focusing on this profound idea that creativity is actually just connecting things.
Exactly.
And our mission here is to sort of shatter that illusion of the lone genius inventing from scratch and look at how to actively rewire the brain for better ideas.
Which is so important because, well, when you look at history, truly original ideas almost never come from nowhere. They are built on existing foundations through recombination. I mean, the iPhone wasn't the first phone,
Right, of
and
course.
the Mac wasn't the first computer. Creativity isn't pure invention. It's really just recombination.
Wait, but didn't those products feel like total paradigm shifts back then? I mean, if it's just remixing, why did it feel like magic to the consumer?
Well, because the specific ingredients being mixed just hadn't been combined before. Like, we all know that famous story of Steve Jobs taking a college calligraphy class.
Yeah, the typography thing.
Right. At the time, studying typography was completely unrelated to the clunky, command line computers of that era. But years later, he connected technology with design aesthetics.
So acknowledging that we all know that story, what is actually happening biologically when someone does that? Because it can't just be a lucky spark, right?
No, it's not. It is physical. When you learn something new, your brain builds a literal neural pathway. So if you only study, say, software engineering, those pathways run parallel.
Okay, so they stay in one lane.
Exactly. They get
Okay.
very dense, but they stay in that one lane. But when you study software engineering and medieval calligraphy, your brain is forced to build a physical bridge between those isolated networks.
Oh.
Yeah, and that bridge, that is exactly where the aha moment happens.
Hmm. So the mechanism is literally forcing a collision between isolated neural networks. But if the formula is just acquiring diverse inputs, why do so many of us feel stuck or uncreative on a daily basis?
Well, because we naturally default to closed systems. We consume the same type of content, we talk to the same people, and we run the exact same routines every day.
So the brain has no incentive to build any new bridges.
Exactly. There's no new raw material.
It's less like cooking the same meal and maybe more like genetic crossbreeding. Like if you keep breeding the same plants, you just get the same fruit.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it.
But if you graft a branch from an entirely different species onto that tree, you suddenly grow a fruit no one has ever tasted.
That is a very accurate biological parallel, actually. That grafting process is what we call cross-domain thinking. True innovation happens right at those intersections,
So like mixing two completely different fields.
right? Psychology grafted onto marketing creates incredibly persuasive brands. Or philosophy merged with business builds meaning-driven companies. You start seeing patterns that specialists who are stuck in just one field are completely blind to.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, this fundamentally changes how we should consume information. I mean, a passive consumer reads a book, absorbs it, and just puts it on a shelf.
Yes, and they forget most of it.
Right, but an active creator reads that same book and forces a collision with whatever problem they are currently trying to solve.
Precisely. Intelligence isn't the limiting factor for most people. It's really the awareness of potential connections. You have to intentionally read outside your specific niche.
Which sounds great in theory.
It does, but you also have to write down the patterns you notice and actively force those combinations between unrelated things.
But practically, how do you stop that from just becoming a chaotic mess of random facts in your head? I feel like I'd just be overwhelmed.
You stop it by recognizing that creativity isn't this fleeting moment you have to capture immediately. It is a slow, deliberate accumulation of experiences.
Oh, so it takes time.
Exactly. You build a system to record what you learn, and you trust that over time, your brain will link those stored patterns when you actually need them. That is the moment the calligraphy finally connects to the computer.
Wow, so the pressure really is off. You don't need to try to become more creative. You literally just need to experience more to give your brain the raw materials it needs.
That is the core of it. Just feed the network.
So we started this deep dive by asking if you could let go of the myth of creating something from nothing. You don't have to pull genius out of thin air.
No, you really don't.
But it does leave you with an exciting challenge. Looking at your own life, what two completely unrelated interests could you connect today to build something no one else has ever seen?